or south of the border. There are pillars here, which can block the vision sometimes. You do get used to them. It's funny how they seemed so big at first, and now they have kind of fallen away. But they do impede our vision at times. All right, Addie Rawl out there. She's also having a strong game for Queen City, and just look at that, powering through that very tough front wall from the Vixens, going one-on-one with the big block and not being phased in the slightest. Lead jammer for Addie Rawl, but right behind her,
it's Pixie Cuts.
Pixie Cuts having a great game, fantastic game for the Vixens. Early on here, and Addie Rawl goes right into that wall, does a nice little spin to pick up 2 points. Nice job from the veteran. Good start from the Furies. Now they started off the first half with a big lead as well. Some interesting observations at halftime. Queen City was really kind of owning that the jam line. Jam line brought to you this weekend by Wicked Skatewear. And so maybe the Vixens now moving to the front, trying to play some offense from the front perhaps. But once again, that back wall from Queen City just dominant now on Cool, Mudblood, Keel. I apologize with the pronunciation of her real name. The skater formerly known as Mudblood, another one of these skaters. Oh, and another penalty. Major cut now.
Hannah Murphy throwing that hit. They forced the cut.
Low hits Griffin back to the penalty box. And all of the white jammers, the Fury jammers, have at least 2 penalties. It's been remarkable watching these Vixens. Vixens really like to play hard-hitting, fast roller derby. They'll trap when necessary, as we're seeing right now in a power jam. They've got a nice 4-on-1 trap, forcing the other play call for Cool. Number 278 in yellow, coming around for another 5-point pickup. Oh, nice job by the Furies. Just
nice drive to the outside by number 56 from the Furies. That's Vengetta Warrior.
Yeah, she's a big hitter. She's laid down some big hits in the first half. Just threw one big one there, and another one. This time coming from the pivot, though. Ivana Leira, one of the co-captains of the Furies. And again, great defense from Queen City, and Cool unable to get through, and she's down. I think that was a big hit from Vagina Warrior. We've got our first skater down. Holding onto her knee, as you can see. We mentioned earlier that the Vixens are suffering from some injury troubles already.
EMTs are quick to respond, so she's well taken care of.
The skaters are going to return to their bench, being sent back to their bench by the ref crew. And she is in some pain. This is Keel's second year with the Vixens. She skated as Mudblood last year. She skates also on the Riot Squad home team.
On camera now is the Lake Effect Furies Yeti.
I think we should just call him the Lake Effect Furry. It's pretty quiet here early on in the bunker, as it usually is during the early going in the QCC. But again, we've got games for you all day. You can catch that all live here on CanuckDerbyTV.com at 12 p.m. The host, CN Power, will be playing their first game against the Ohio Roller Girls All-Stars. That should be a barn burner. The 2 highest-ranked teams in this tournament playing. And then at 2 p.m., we've got our first-ever B-team game in the Quad City Chaos history, when the Bay Street Bruisers, the host, will take on Queen City's Devil Dollies. Coming up at 5 p.m., another WFTDA Sanctioned match between the Ohio All-Stars and the same Rito Valley Vixens team. And then at 7 p.m., our prime time bout of the evening tonight. A big battle of Toronto and Buffalo, a battle that has been ongoing for quite a few years, and it will continue tonight with CN Power taking on the Lake Effect Furies. So just to update you, Kuhl is up. She's sitting up now, getting her gear off. Does look like a right knee issue, but she is she does seem to be okay, as you can see her now on your screen. And the EMTs are getting her up. Now this would be, and you can see she is not putting any weight on that right leg. This is would be a massive loss. She's a very versatile skater, can play any position. They've obviously been working on their jammer depth. And she is a part of that rotation, so this is going to be a bad loss for the Vixens throughout the weekend. All right, well, we're going to get underway again. I'd like to thank our sponsors again, Foundation Physiotherapy. Foundation Physiotherapy has been helping Toronto roller derby skaters throughout the season with all their physio, massage, therapy, acupuncture, and bracing products. Visit them online at foundationphysiotherapy.com and in real life at 383 Front Street West, the corner of Front and Spadina here in Toronto.
Ref just informed me that there will be a low block major called for that hit.
Okay, and was that on the jammer?
No, the blocker that took out Kuhl.
I think it was a jammer. Took her, it was a jammer on jammer. So I think that means that we will have a power jam for Carnage. All right, so it's a 4-2 pack advantage. Carnage, the rookie for the Vixens, skating out there. It looks like Sister Disaster will be pivoting the line with the big block, Margaret Choke, and Blackout Susan. Formidable Vixens line. Although there isn't really a non-formidable Vixens line. They've really developed a lot of depth on their bench. So let's see how they recover now. A little shaken up, losing one of their better skaters. But Carnage, able to fight through that 2-wall. Falls down as she goes through. But she is lead jammer.
First time in the game we've seen them line up on that pivot line.
That's right. Low hits Griffin, though, back on the track. So I guess you were right. It was a blocker that picked up the low block major. Low hits Griffin through, not lead jam. That still is Carnage. Being told to call it from the bench, and she does so. Coach Adam, the long-time bench manager for both the Vixens and the Slaughter Daughters. Getting some help on the bench from the injured Chakra Rocker. Second-year Fury skater out right now with an Achilles injury. Blackout Susan out there with Brennan and Rudolph. I got it this time. With Soul Wrecker battling on the jam line with Day Tripper. 7-11.
She ekes out the outside, and she is lead jammer.
And Soul Wrecker's already got a half a track now, and Day Tripper being held back by that brilliant 3-wall. And then Brennan going back to help with some offense to help Soul Wrecker get through, but she gets recycled now. Re-entering the pack, Day Tripper still not able to get through. Great defense, stuck behind Hannah Murphy. Blackout Susan, though, giving that knockout punch and a nice hammer and nail from the Vixens blockers. Frostbite Me holding the inside line. And a nice 3-wall defense right now from the Vixens, but Soul Wrecker being recycled to the back of the pack, being forced back.
Playing very cautiously, doesn't want to be thrown in that pack. I think it was a no pass, no penalty, but she wanted to make sure re-entered the pack legally.
The Vixens have done a nice job. They have given up a few power jams, but nothing compared to the number that they have had. Just great D, and another cut drawn right there. Beautiful little block from Rudolph, skater formerly known as Frostbite Me, number 40.
A nice vertical wall for the Vixens to just let Soul Wrecker eke through that inside line.
And that just a little mental error there from 7-Eleven in white for Lake Effect Furies. And you think maybe, you know, the rules have changed this year. Last year you could get away with that single cut of an opposing skater. You cannot, of course, anymore. 5 more points now for the Vixens. 42-point lead, increasing things here in the second half, early going in the second half.
And time is up.
So 7 minutes into the second half. And a big lead once again, 123-78 for the Vixens. And they're putting out on a very experienced line right now, pivoted by Sister Disaster, featuring Hannah Murphy, Da Big Block, and Margaret Choke, with Pixie Cuts, number 9 in yellow, starting off on this power jam. Nice positioning, though, from the Lake Effect Furies, taking that nice defensive zone at the front, but they can only hold her for so long.
Been so quiet watching the back of this pack just isolate one player out, forcing that forward, although we do have a split pack situation right now. Pixie Cuts, just chest to chest. Oh, and she cuts.
Oh.
Sneaky. She was trying to go back, stepped on the track.
Nice job there. And this Lake Effect Furies team, just their bridging has been phenomenal. Oh, just getting by the hit of Hannah Murphy, but she's getting another cut.
As well.
I guess she did not get by that hit of Hannah Murphy, and the momentum brought her back on the track. That means both jammers will be released fairly quickly. Pixie Cuts, nice scrappy jam just to fight through that front wall. 1 to beat now, but it is a big one, and she gets through.
Hannah Murphy shooting up to the front, joined by Sister Disaster. They've formed a nice tight wall around that jammer.
And Headhuntresses have been doing nice defense for the Furies, with Margaret Choke pulling her off the jammer there on turn number 2. Hannah Murphy now dragging jammer back. Day Tripper having a hard time with the big block, and Hannah Murphy recycles back to the front. Nice water falling by the Vixens, always making sure there's someone there to support. Good bridging as Day Tripper stuck behind Hannah Murphy. Hannah Murphy trying to push her out, couldn't quite get her out of bounds. Pixie Cuts having a hard time at the back of the pack, though. Nice offensive block from Sister Disaster, freeing Pixie Cuts, who immediately calls it off. Sister Disaster comes off, the big smile on her face. Job well done. Sister Disaster, a little derby trivia, is now the manager of Neon Skates Montreal. And Neon Skates is one of the vendors here in our vendor alley at the Quad City Chaos. That's the third bricks and mortar roller derby store now on Eastern Canada. Oh, nice job by Liberalian to brawl her way through that front wall and take lead jammer status, a much needed lead jammer status for this Lake Effect Furies team.
And she jukes around, not quite enough to get around that pack at the back.
Yeah, just really covering nicely these Vixens blockers. She was able to juke around Blackout Susan, but Margaret Choke was right there to fill the gap, and still the same thing happening now. Brennan holding her and finally forcing a very frustrated call. Lake Effect Furies do look very calm. They don't seem to be thrown off by this, but it's an ever-growing lead right now for the Vixens here in the second half. Sister Disaster out there pivoting with Brennan at semi-pressure, Hannah Murphy, and Blackout Susan. Oh, and a big hit from the Lake Effect Furies captain, QT, right off the start, trying to open up a hole, but unfortunately, Soul Wrecker's the one who gets through and takes advantage of it. Lead jammer.
Addie Rawl does break through the pack. It's like Soul Wrecker's going to try to take her 4 and call it.
But Addie Rawl with so much speed as she comes in is able to pick up 1 point and steals one. just flying. She doesn't seem to have any problem with this polished concrete at all.
No.
Addie Rawal traveled with Team USA when they went on their Scandinavian trip late last year. Got to skate with Team USA against Team Finland. 5-on-5 roller derby right now. 12 minutes into the second half. Oh, and a nice job by Rudolph to break a hole through that Queen City wall and allow DDT out as your lead jammer.
Vixens spreading that pack, and she does get called back for not reforming.
And 4 points picked up by DDT. 18 minutes remaining in the second half of the opening game of the 2013 Quad City Chaos. Here live from the bunker in Downsview Park, Toronto. Thanks for tuning in to CanuckDerbyTV.com. I'm the Derby Nerd here with Monichrome. Wenser is on the Txtcast. We do have a Txtcast going. We will have this going all day for you, all weekend, this tournament. Oh, a nice hitting again by Blackouts. Oh, sorry.
That's Hannah Murphy.
Hannah Murphy. Stuck behind Hannah Murphy. And Brennan, they've become quite a dynamic duo. Dragging
Pixie cuts, taking lead despite only having 2 blockers to aid her out on that track.
Brennan and Hannah Murphy were causing such a disturbance that all the Queen City blockers were held to the outside. Pixie Cut's able to just sneak through on the inside, and she's picked up 4 big points, and she's going to call it off.
Amazing pack work by those 2.
Phenomenal. And Brennan in her second year with the Vixens. And Hannah Murphy, one of the founding members of the league in this team. Again, still 2, Margaret Choke and Sister Disaster out there all alone now. 4-2 Pactus Vintage. QT, the captain of the Lake Effect Furies, pivoting out there with Vagina Warrior. And oh, wow, nice offensive block on the outside by that Captain QT, and Libralian now lead jammer.
Libralian come around fast. Soul Wrecker hasn't moved much in that pack, and she picks up a natural grand slam.
Nice job by Libralian and the Queen City blockers just to open up that hole right through the middle of the track, too. Oh, and a nice hit by Vagina Warrior, pulling Soul Wrecker back. Oh, and Libralian again through. Is this a bit of a comeback?
It looks that way. I don't think they're going to make up the 50-point lead, but this is certainly going to help things.
All natural, too, and Libralian right through the middle of that pack. Another skater down from the Vixens. Sister Disaster went down hard onto her back, and I wonder if she hit the back of her head. She is rolling over. She seems to be all right. She's trying to get up on her own accord. She is.
Yep.
As I said earlier, it looks like her shoulder. I've never seen a game where Sister Disaster did not leave everything on the track. She plays every jam like it's her last jam. And she's picked up some bruises along the way.
Yeah.
Timeout looks like going to be called by the Vixens.
Yeah.
Captain Hannah Murphy trying to get their attention. Well-timed timeout, I think, too, with Lake Effect Furies just starting to mount a little bit of a comeback. It's 144 to 96 now.
Yep.
Still a substantial lead, but
these timeouts halfway through, especially when you've been holding on to them the whole game, it's good to just sort of take a minute, let your player rest. You know, like let all of your players rest, but especially the ones that have just gone down and left it all on the track. Gives them that extra minute to recharge, refocus, and hopefully recharge just like they did in the same way at the beginning of the half.
That's right, and you don't want to Queen City, really the first time they've gotten anything going in the second half, and so you kind of want to kill that momentum as well. They've still got 2 timeouts and an official review left, so well played by the Vixens bench, and they look very calm. So it will remain, though, a pack advantage. Oh, no, sorry. The penalty boxes are empty. So it will be 5-on-5 roller derby again.
Really? That never happens.
Carnage, the rookie, again out there against Adderall, the veteran, and these two have had a couple battles on the track. Again, probably the biggest disparity in experience between the two, any two jammers you could get in this tournament, even when it comes down to the A teams. But stuck behind Hannah Murphy is Adderall, finally able to push those skaters out of play. And it looks like Hannah Murphy heading to the box now.
Failure to reform to the pack, I believe.
Or it might have held on just a little too long with the hit, too. Oh, and a big hit evaded by Carnage. Finally able to through, but not after a grand slam picked up by Adderall. So, Lake Effect Furies still riding this little bit of a wave here in the second half now within 42 points, 144 to 102, just past the halfway mark of this second half. Chrom, you mentioned earlier these two teams very close in the rankings right now, both firmly planted in WFTDA's Division 2, QCRG in 68th, RVRG in 71st. So neither in a playoff position though. Out of all the teams in the Division 2, only the top 20 make the playoffs. So they need to be in that 40 to 60 range. Another lead jam now, third in a row for Queen City's Lake Effect Furies. And this time it's Pixie Cuts, who's had a very successful game, getting trapped in that pack. Another natural grand slam. And this is all happening natural for these Furies. Now, Chrom, when you're on the track, can you feel these shifts in momentum in the midst of a game?
Sometimes. I think that in this particular case, I think that the Vixens are feeling that. You can't help but feel those momentum changes when you have natural grand slams. But really in the game, it depends on the type of player you are. Some people really look at that scoreboard every single jam to see where they're at. And a lot of players just play their best game and forget about the score. So I can't help but think that the Vixens aren't feeling this change. These natural grand slams are embarrassing and difficult to overcome. So.
And it seems to be leading to maybe a little desperation in the pack. They're running into some pack penalty troubles. Only 3 on the track right now. Nice hit by Hannah Murphy, though. Hannah Murphy. But cannot hold. Is that Libralian? It is for lead jammer. This is quite a run now for the Furies. But Solwrecker able to get through. The big block. No, sorry, that is Rudolph. And Blackout Susan couldn't hold back. Libralian picks up 4 more points.
Yep. Yeah, this pack is getting spread out. And I think that maybe that timeout actually helped Queen City more than it helped the Vixens.
Yeah. The Vixens, though, one thing we can say, they do have a full pack now.
And a strong one at that.
Yep, the big block out there with Margaret Choke. Brennan and Sister Disaster. It's 5-on-5 derby. We can see number 56, Vagina Warrior, on the outside for Lake Effect Furies, holding off DDT. Wow, and a nice move. Margaret Choke just getting juked to the inside hard. Another
lead jam.
This has been the most impressive run of derby probably in the last 7 minutes now, the last 4 or 5 jams from these Queen City skaters. Finally just seem to be getting into things here. Natural grand slam, and DDT gets massively hit by Vagina Warrior. Ouch. A little bit of a size disparity there. But DDT is tough, and she's right back on Vagina Warrior, sticking to her close. And Vagina Warrior, the nice hit to the inside. Oh, and I believe
Sister Disaster out of play.
Okay. 5 more points. We're in the under 20 points. What a change. DDT looks like she went to the penalty box, but her jam ref, I believe, is calling her back on the track. I don't know if she's noticed.
Yep, she's up off the bench.
Okay.
Yep.
A little bit of confusion there. Adderall through with another 4 points this time. And DDT just being owned by Vagina Warrior on this jam. And this jam has turned everything around. It's 13 points now. Queen City, the Lake Effect Furies, fighting their way back.
DDT trying to prevent Adderall from scoring any more points here. She's gone into blocker mode. Oh, spin out.
Adderall spinning between Margaret Choke and Brennan. The two experienced Vixens blockers unable to hold her back. And finally that jam comes to an end, and we have ourselves a game again. A total of 40 straight points now scored for the Furies. And we went from a 50-point lead to, I need to do that math, 8 points.
8 points. Yikes.
Yikes.
10 more minutes left in this game.
And oh, look at that. Brennan out there for her first jam of the game. So the Vixens not happy with the way things going, looking to mix things up. Now Brennan is one of their top blockers as well. But let's see what she can do with the star. I believe, I personally have never seen her jam before.
I think their jammers were getting beat up, so they thought, let's put somebody who's a heavy hitter that can hit her way through. And she does. She scores lead.
Lead jammer and first jam of the night for Brennan. And they needed that. It's about 5 in a row now for the Furies. So this is good timing. Coach Adams got a few tricks up his sleeve. And just nice defense up front. They're able to put pixie cuts in the pack now, and she's working well with Hannah Murphy.
Brennan goes to the penalty box for a cut. One of the dangers of putting a blocker out as a jammer, not really training as a jammer very often, so it's very easy to get those minor cuts that are now majors.
Right. Yeah, just trying to hold the momentum is difficult. It is something jammers work on a little bit more, but again, nice defense. Really can't get out of bounds, though. Sisters asked her last line of defense with a massive shoulder-to-shoulder hit.
Yeah, and she was bridged, and now she's back to the back of this pack.
Low hits Griffin recycled all the way to the back. And now low hits Griffin with a cut major. And this will free Brennan.
Into her point-scoring pass.
And you can see Brennan now re-entering the pack. Vixens lining up and looking to open up the outside. Hannah Murphy over there all alone. Nice defense. Queen City. Oh, and the last line just knocks down. And QT now sucking her back into the pack. The hits are just getting harder.
Yep. Refs are calling some penalties there. Number 54 does get called out. I believe that was a back block major.
So after all that was said and done, Rideau Valley Vixens able to add 1 point to their lead now. 149 to 140 is the difference. But they needed those points. They hadn't scored in quite a few jams, stopping a 40-point run by the Lake Effect Furies. Zolrecker now out there all alone to face a 3-wall and a little passive offense from the Vixens. Again, they're not a team that generally likes to play this way. And you can see they just used that passive line just to set up a trap.
Yep.
And now they're going to try to hold her back.
And just because you don't normally play that way doesn't mean that you don't have those tricks up your sleeve.
That's right. Yes.
Take what you can get. And she took it.
Both low hits Griffin coming out on a scoring pass. Zolrecker forced to call that one just to try to limit the damage and kill some of this clock now. Under 7 minutes remaining, 149 to 140 is the score. Carnage, the rookie out there, jamming against Libralian. For those of you who haven't been able to see the artwork yet that was created by Quick Draw, you should check it out. Libralian, number 622 from the Lake Effect Furies, one of the caricatures he drew for this year's poster. He does done the posters for the last few years. I've featured them on derbynerd.com for the preview for this. I featured his artwork. Very good stuff.
Very good stuff.
All right, we should take this opportunity, this timeout now taken by Rideau Valley Vixens, to thank our sponsors again. I'd like to thank our media sponsor, The Grid. The Grid is a weekly city magazine and daily website providing a fresh, accessible voice for Toronto. The goal of The Grid is to capture the vibe and energy of a city in ascendance, largely by rejecting the glossy, doggedly aspirational vision of it you see in so many other publications. The Grid is available free all over Toronto.
And this week, it's featuring Scarcasm of Toronto
right,
Roller
on the
Derby. She's
cover.
a Death Track doll on the cover, and she's also playing for the Bay Street Bruisers tonight.
That's right. Captain of the Dolls. So pick up a grid. Look for Scarcasm on the cover of this week's edition. Okay, we are back again, and the one good thing about taking that time out is Libralian right back out there, and Soul Wrecker both right back out there for the Vixens. I think we'll see these two a lot in the final 7 minutes or so of this game. 9 points the difference. Oh, and Soul Wrecker.
Oh.
Right through the inside and able to hold that line on 1 foot. Huge lead jammer status for Soul Wrecker and the Rideau Valley Vixens. Margaret Choke, though, headed to the penalty box. That frees Libralian, and she's got about a track to make up, though, and Wrecker's already picking up points. Points and killing clock, the two important things of the Vixens right now.
Takes a 4, runs away with it.
And a nice job by the Vixens. Increasing their lead now to 13 points with 6 minutes remaining. What a way to kick off the 2013 Quad City Chaos. So the two teams lining up on the jam line. Queen City loves the back of that line. Rideau Valley does seem to be adjusting, though, playing from the front. Jam line is brought to you by Wicked Skatewear this weekend. Pixie Cuts back out there now against Adderall. Adderall is a joy to watch. She's just jumpy and jukey. And loves to go one-on-one with those blockers, and she is your lead jammer. But look at Pixie Cuts, only about 20 feet back.
Yep.
And the Vixens do have a nice pace line at the front. Oh, and chasing.
This fast.
Adderall telling them to skate, and I think the Vixens will love this. That's time off the clock. Oh, and a nice little spin out. Did she get any? None.
No points scored.
Adderall is good at that turn, but she couldn't stay in bounds this time, so didn't pick up any points.
But may have prevented a cut, so
That's
take what you can get.
That's right. 3-3 in the pack. Low Hits Griffin out there versus Soul Wrecker in the yellow for the Rideau Valley Vixens. 13 points, under 5 minutes remaining in the opening game. 2013 QCC.
Soul Wrecker stuck at the back there. But it looks like Low Hits is also stuck at the front. And Soul Wrecker pops through the inside, picks up lead.
Amazing defense by both teams, and the Vixens defense just able to hold on a little bit longer. And look at Hannah Murphy and Rudolph now at the front of the pack, just destroying Low Hits Griffin, forcing her all the way back. Soul Wrecker picking up more points. This is a big jam for the Vixens. Oh, and Soul Wrecker, though, heading to the box on a back block major. Power jam now. Queen City down by 13. 1:17 left in this jam. Margaret Choke, a nice job to drag back. Low Hits Griffin.
They're dragging her far. Nice long bridge.
Beautiful bridge. Oh. And it looks like good call on the ref. Big hit from Sister Disaster.
Yep, and she is called out. Direction of gameplay.
But it slowed down the jammer, and right now she has not been able to get through, and with 48 seconds left in this jam, killing the clock might be their best choice. Brilliant defense. This is exactly what the Lake Effect Furies needed right now to get back in this one, but they cannot do anything. Hannah Murphy, Rudolph, and Margaret Choke just doing a phenomenal job, and Margaret Choke draws the cut.
That means Soul Wrecker will be released from the penalty box.
Wow.
Hopefully able to scoop up a few more points between now and 15 seconds from now when this jam ends.
She is on a scoring pass, so she's already got 1, 2. See if she can get any more. And that could have been the TSN turning point. For any of you watching in Canada, you know what I mean. Soul Wrecker able to punch her way through. Will she get to that final point?
Does take up all 4 points.
Huge jam now for the Vixens, and now timeout being called, not surprisingly, by the Furies. What a game.
Yep. 2 minutes, 27 seconds left.
1:57 to 140 is the score. Wow, and just great defense from the Vixens. It looked like Low Hits Griffin was on a power jam that was going to bring the Furies back into it, but just phenomenal defense from the Vixens pack. Kept her off the board and eventually forced a cut. Nice blocking by Margaret Choke, forced a cut. Brought Soul Wrecker back up and able to pad this lead a little bit more. QT, the captain, going to pivot the line. 4-3 pack advantage for Queen City here. Number 240, Ivana Layer out, the co-captain, also having a strong game. So they're putting out some positionally strong blockers here. And Headhuntress, who's had some big hits this game for the Furies. So big line out there for Queen City. And Margaret Choke out there with Brennan and the big block as the only three for the Vixens. Pixie cuts. Low Hits Griffin in white for the Furies. 2:25 remaining.
Oh, and she pushes them right into that cup. They're automatically starting on the line with a trap. Nice job. And they were the three of them were together, and they knew who they wanted, and they know what they wanted to do with their. And QT, the pivot, is trapped, and it's a dead pack as Pixie Cuts comes around to score. Sister Disaster back on the track, 4 on the track now, but here comes Low Hits Griffin, jammer for Queen City. Margaret Choke, who sent her to the box, right on her again with Sister Disaster, the pivot, the big block. Nice job by the Vixens again. Under 2 minutes remaining. Finally Griffin through, but Pixie Cuts coming around on another scoring pass. She takes her 4, and she calls it.
2 points, though, stolen from Queen City, and another timeout going to be called here by the Furies.
Furies bench manager feeling a little furious right now. Trying to call this timeout.
They know that every second counts right now. Guillotine, Coach Andy running the bench for the Lake Effect Furies. 166 to 142. So really good points and time management over these final few minutes by the Vixens as they held the Furies back on that furious momentum shift that had happened. Again, big thanks to Holy Crap Cereal, one of the biggest sponsors of roller derby in this country. So we thank them. Find it, eat it, buy it. Also, a big thanks to Kind Healthy Snacks. Kind is a brand of all-natural whole nut and fruit bars made from ingredients you can see and pronounce, and it's also a movement that gives new purpose to snacking. At Kind, they do things a bit differently. So Kind Healthy Snacks, thanks to them as well. Delicious. Lots of delicious sponsors. That's great. All right, 1.5 minutes remaining in the second half of this opening game of the Quad City Chaos. It has been a phenomenal start to this tournament, to say the least. I'm bet you glad you woke up in time to catch this one. 166 to 142. Soul Wrecker against Libralian. Libralian in white getting taken down by Rudolph.
Oh, and Soul Wrecker takes the outside. The whole bench is going bananas.
May have been the most important lead jam of the game for the Vixens, and Libralian getting knocked around by Blackout Susan and Hannah Murphy. Brennan with some nice defense on turn number 3, and finally Libralian through, but Soul Wrecker's already scoring. We're under a minute left. And now how is she gonna manage this one? Soul Wrecker
slowly calling it off. I don't know if there are any timeouts left. Do they have them?
I believe that this is the last Furies timeout. Soul Wrecker did pick up 4 points. 170 to 142, and that might have been the difference maker in this one.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Vixens taking this opportunity to discuss things themselves. They haven't had to use this timeout, but they're using it now.
I mean, 28 points. I know it's obviously possible to get 28 points in a power jam, but the way these two teams have been playing, they have been very, very low scoring halves. Looks like Libralian, we're giving you an inside scoop here, leaving the Queen City bench, and she is looking for the EMTs, holding her left hand in kind of a protective way. We'll have to monitor that as this tournament goes on. Queen City has a big game, of course, against CN Power tonight at 7 p.m. You can watch it live here on Canuck Derby TV at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Once again, a big thanks. Our director for this boutcast is Upperher Cut. She's doing all the switching for you here. Also, big thanks, of course, to Mr. Force, a.k.a. Layer 9, our technical producer for this boutcast. And big thanks to our camera crew, Sneaky D, Tomy Knockers, and Uncivil Servant, I believe, are our camera crew for this game. I'm the Derby Nerd here with Monichrome.
On Canuck Derby TV.
That's right. It's been a couple good weekends for Canadian roller derby. Last weekend, Canuck Derby TV covering the RDAC Championships live from Edmonton. And this week, all the way on the other side of the country here in Toronto for Canada's first ever fully WFTDA sanctioned tournament. Again, we've got games going on for you all weekend. Now, we've been giving so much love to the Jammer line. Let's not forget that there is a pivot line for one, and also the pivot line as a sponsor. First Aid Trainer is the sponsor for our pivot line. Thanks very much to them. Wicked Skatewear, our sponsors for the Jammer line. Coming up next, live here, you do not want to miss it, CN Power against the Ohio Roller Girls All-Stars, the two top-ranked teams in the Quad City Chaos this year, two teams that did battle last year in a phenomenal game. It was a closed game here at the bunker, 13 points in the half before injuries ravaged the CNP roster, and Ohio ended up running away with that. It was kind of a turning point in the season for CN Power. It was kind of the point when they realized they probably wouldn't make the playoffs. So I think they would really, really like to avenge that. But Ohio's gone a long way in the last year. They, of course, Ohio played more WFTDA sanctioned games than anyone else in the league last year. Made it all the way to the Final Four in the North Central Regionals before losing to Naptown. And they're off to a hot start again this year.
In case you're wondering, that was actually an official review. They were reviewing apparently the Vixens swimming through the pack as opposed to passing legally. So don't know what the outcome of that is, but both jammers are on the track, so I'm guessing that they had a good reason for not calling her off.
That's right. I think maybe thinking Soul Wrecker's a little armsy, but Soul Wrecker is back out there again. They're going back to back, and no surprise to see Addy Roll out there and hear what will likely be the last jam of the game. If it goes 3 more seconds, it will be. This is the final jam of the opening game of the 2013 Quad City Chaos. The Vixens looking to hold on for the upset. 28 points, 20 seconds remaining in the game, a minute and a half remaining on the jam. Neither jammer able to get through. Tight defense from both. The big block finally going up front to help out Soul Wrecker. But Addy Roll then freed, and it does take 4 blockers sometimes to hold Addy Roll back. She is lead jammer. Queen City, their last spark of hope, perhaps, as time quickly runs down. She's got a minute and 10 to work with.
Soul Wrecker pushing through. And, just can't make it.
Headhuntress with a nice hit to pushing Soul Wrecker back.
Big pile up at the back there. It's like it's taking some time to sort out the damage. Addy Roll slow to get up.
Both teams are just exhausted, it seems like. This has been an extraordinarily aggressive game, but also very, very fast. And a big block. Oh! Nice
triple tap.
Machine gun hitting, waterfall hitting, whatever you want to call it. The Vixens doing an amazing job right now.
Sister Disaster taking the star.
A rare star pass. Sister Disaster started her career with the Vixens as a jammer, one of their primary jammers. But as you can see, she's so valuable in the pack that she slowly shifted away from that. But she's very comfortable here. And good timing as Soul Wrecker heads to the box after the pass. 7 seconds remaining. Sister Disaster on her scoring pass. This is going to do it. All wrapped up. First game of the QCC. We've got our first upset. Time expires.
2 points scooped up for the Vixens with Sister Disaster jamming.
Well played by the Vixens over the final 5 minutes. It looked very much like the Lake Effect Furies, where about to come back and take over control of this game, but Vixens just very calmly held it together, played their game, rode out the storm, and then closed it out with some nice, just well-timed timeouts, nice little star pass there in the final jam.
And just good, heavy hitting.
Yeah. Yeah, the Vixens almost play like an old school style. They like it fast. They like it big hits. But they can tighten it up when needed as well. Really impressed by this Vixens team.
And they're a team that works very well together. You can tell that their home team is largely in this travel team as well. So they've been playing together for a great number of years.
Yeah,
they know how to work together, and that could have been the edge that they needed to take away this win. We're still sitting on an unofficial final score here.
That's right. We haven't had an official wrap, but with that much of a difference, I think we can officially announce that the Vixens, ranked number 68 in the WFTDA, have upset the number 71 ranked Lake Effect Furies. The only thing that remains to be seen is how much is the difference. But this is a huge victory, especially, like I said, a month ago, the Vixens went down to Buffalo, lost a 90-point game. So to come back and take out this veteran Furies team is huge. The Vixens. And there it is, your official final. 170 to 147. Kicking things off.
Wrapping it up. Oh, no, it's 172 to 147.
That was the final
scoreboard
adjustment.
Was a little behind. Yep.
So 172 to 147, final score of this opening game of the 2013 Quad City Chaos. I think that's a pretty good way to kick things off.
Yeah, I believe so.
Phenomenal game. Please remember, you can see both these teams again later on today. Rideau Valley coming up at 5 p.m. Queen City back on at 7 if you've been tuning in to watch them. But coming up next here on Canuck Derby TV, 12 p.m., Toronto Roller Derby CN Power versus the Ohio Roller Girls All-Stars. You can catch it all live here. Okay. For the TORD TV crew, I'm the Derby Nerd.
Here with Monichrome.
And we will see you soon.
Go get skated up now.